Hello there. Hello there.
At last, where have you been?
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do?
This is where the fun begins.
Hello and welcome everyone to Jedi Eternal. I am one of your hosts, Andrew Bolin, alongside the birthday boy, Braxton Wayne Taylor.
I feel so special here on my belated birthday.
Yeah, well, you know, it was, yesterday?
Actually, no, 2
Was it
days ago.
yesterday? 2 days ago?
Yeah,
you know,
my belated
whatever,
birthday.
It all runs together.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah, so Braxton just had his
I'm not answering it.
7th birthday.
You should know this. No, 26th.
26th birthday.
That's hurtful.
26th birthday. Yeah, so it's been a weird time, guys. Like, we can't seem to have this podcast on any kind of regular schedule.
Yeah.
It's been very frustrating.
Yeah.
But we promise we're not going anywhere. I know I saw some comments from some of our regulars that were like,
Oh,
I didn't know if you guys
were going away.
like, yeah, if you guys were gone, or like, no. First of all, if that were to ever happen, which God forbid it does.
Yeah,
but
we'd
if it were
always
to
make
ever
a, we'd make a
happen,
post about it.
we would
for sure.
totally let you guys know. Like, we wouldn't just like
We'd make a big deal about it and put this thing into this grave that should.
we wouldn't just like up and run.
Yeah.
But listen, I'm not going anywhere. You know, Braxton might. I don't know. I can't.
we'll see.
I can't.
I don't know.
I can't speak for him, but I'm not going anywhere.
Twin cost. I'm here, guys.
No, we love Star Wars, and so much more Star Wars is to come.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you can guarantee we'll be sticking around. But
Absolutely.
anyway, lots of good things in store today. We're going to be talking about some good news that has came out since our last time we had the podcast. We're also going to be discussing the High Republic as our main topic today, kind of going over what has happened so far in the High Republic and where we think it's going to go from here. So stick around for that. But let's go ahead and jump right into the news. So, starting with our first news story for today, Lego Star Wars Castaways coming to Apple Arcade. So, this is another Star Wars Lego game on top of the one that we're already getting. And this is what they're calling the first online social action-adventure Lego Star Wars game, coming November 19th to only Apple Arcade.
That's a mouthful, first of all. But second
Yes.
of all, it is surprising that they took the approach that it's only on Apple Arcade.
Yeah, so there must be some kind of deal they have striked there, right?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on this? How are you feeling?
I'll be honest with you. I don't have a lot of opinions on it because I just saw it like yesterday as we were texting about it. And honestly, yeah, I mean, as I said in the text message, I said it looks pretty goofy, but I'll probably play it. And that's kind of like how my feelings are. With that said, I don't have Apple Arcade, and I don't really need a 600th subscription. I don't really need a 600 subscription. With that said, I wouldn't be opposed to like getting that free trial and trying out the game because that's about the only Apple Arcade game I really care to play. But I mean, like I said, anything that's Star Wars and Star Wars Lego, I definitely want to try it out. But
So
interesting approach, though. I guess what I'm getting at.
right, and so they're saying you're going to be able to build and customize your own in-game Lego minifigure character. The heroes of their own Star Wars adventure. Gamers will visit a mysterious new planet, meet and team up with their friends, race microfighters, and experience classic Star Wars moments. Yeah, so, do I think this is going to be the next big Star Wars game? No, I do not.
Come on.
Will I mess around with it? Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure
yeah.
I'll download it, mess around with it a little bit. But do I think this is going to be like on par with the actual Lego Star Wars that we're getting here, hopefully beginning of next year?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think that it's on par with that.
Probably not.
I think this is going to be a much smaller, probably even more kid-friendly than what we're getting with the actual console game.
Yeah. Anything that's strictly mobile based 9 times out of 10 is either something super consumer friendly where like you can just get bite-sized chunks of it, or it's more kid based because most kids nowadays only have a tablet, you know what I'm saying, or
Right,
whatever.
and I think this is kind of both, right? And
Yeah,
both of those
yeah.
things. This is not your usual console gamer type game from everything I've seen. But yeah, I'll totally mess around with it. Maybe you and me can jump in on it together.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we'll even like stream it or something. Who knows?
Who knows
what
what happens?
crazy things we will decide to do. But let's move on to our next story.
Yeah, for sure. So, in the wake of the onslaught of Boba Fett stuff we're about to get, so many things. We got this like pseudo documentary type thing that's about to come, and then we obviously have Book of Boba Fett that's about to come out at the end of December. So again, in the wake of all of that, Disney/Lucasfilm has announced quote unquote the Bring Home the Bounty merchandise campaign. So on StarWars.com, we have get your tracking fobs ready. Disney and Lucasfilm today launched Bring Home the Bounty, a global consumer products, games, and publishing campaign that will debut the new Star Wars toys, collectibles, books, apparel, and more each week through the end of the year. So this is a pretty big rollout of stuff here. What's your thoughts on this, Drew?
Yeah, so I was going to pull up the thing here that shows everything, because what you'll see is they got like placeholder images, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
the first week they just have like a stormtrooper helmet.
Yeah.
The second week we got the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Third week we have
Bo-Katan.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The fourth week we have, it looks like Shakti.
But it's Ahsoka.
Is that supposed to be Ahsoka?
Yes, it's Ahsoka. It's the Mandalorian Ahsoka.
Yeah, so it's basically
Yeah,
Shakti.
yeah, basically.
I'm not 100% convinced on that. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
But then we have week 5 is I think Rex. Then week 6 is Baby Yogurt.
Baby Yoga. Yogba. Yoder.
Week 7 Tusken Raider. Week 8
Beautiful.
Gonk.
Beautiful Gonk.
In a nice in a little bow wrapped up.
Yes.
Week 9 is 50th Lucasfilm celebration. Week 10 is a game controller. Week 11 is Boba Fett.
Bober.
And then week 12 we have 2 lightsabers crossing, which does appear to be a High Republic lightsaber.
At least one High Republic. The other one kind of looks like Palpatine's. I'm not really sure
So,
what that is, but
is there meaning behind? First thing I want to ask you: is there meaning behind those placeholder images?
I don't know. Good question. Do we? I mean, we have the first week's release stuff, don't we? We can maybe cross-reference.
We do. And what you'll see is based off what we got in the first one. I don't really feel like
it doesn't.
like it really carries over, right? Because the things they're promoting here is like Mandalorian Crocs. So,
I mean that fits a little bit. I mean,
we got like Mandalorian inspired sunglasses, K250 from Rogue One. Nothing really seems to be. If anything, it's more Mandalorian stuff that they're really showing here.
which I guess this is a quote unquote bring home the bounty merchandise.
Right,
rollout,
but here's the thing. A stormtrooper is in like almost everything Star Wars, right? So you can
Yeah.
kind of get away with just showing a stormtrooper helmet.
Yeah.
And, you know, and not really saying much else, but it could have anything in it.
Right.
Here's where, so we're actually in the next week of this. We are in, or actually, what is today? Today is
21st.
When we're doing this, it'll be the 23rd for you guys. But so week 2 just started a couple days ago, and so with that, let's look and see what week 2 has in it. So on the image, it's Mando. So let's see what week 2 has brought us, and it looks like we have Ahsoka Tano and Grogu limited print. A Mandalorian blanket, a statue of Padme. You're not allowed to have that one.
What? Why?
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 Holiday workout gear.
Oh, sorry.
So, oh my goodness, disrupting the podcast.
My peepul's calling me.
Dark saber kyber crystal necklace. So, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say that. I mean, there's a lot of Mandalorian stuff in there, but so there was also in the first one. So
Right.
the next one What was the next one? What was the next image on there?
I went off the page.
Hold
on. I think it was Grogu, but let me check again. No, it was Bo-Katan.
Okay, well, so still, like, it doesn't really... Okay, well, I don't know. I don't know if those mean anything. Well, we'll continue to talk about what comes out of those every week.
Yeah, we'll probably mention...
every 2 weeks when we do our podcast, and we can kind of, like, see what comes out of it. But anyways, might be worth checking out every week for you guys and see if there's anything you want on there. But let's move on to our next story. Next news story is we got some new books that are going to be coming out in 2022, and I, for one, am very, very excited about these books. These are some books I've really wanted, one specifically that I'm very, very excited about, and that is Star Wars Shadow of the Sith. This is going to be coming out June 28th, 2022 by Adam Christopher. This is going to be an adult novel, of course, by coming from Del Rey. And let me just read this to you guys, and you'll probably start to understand why I'm so excited. The Empire is dead. Nearly 2 decades on from the Battle of Endor, the tattered remnants of Palpatine's forces have fled to the farthest reaches of the galaxy. But for the heroes of the New Republic, danger and loss are ever-present companions, even in this newly forged era of peace. Jedi Master Luke Skywalker is haunted by visions of the dark side, foretelling an ominous secret growing somewhere in the depths of space on a dead world called Exegol. The disturbance in the Force is undeniable, and Luke's worst fears are confirmed when his old friend, Lando Calrissian, comes to him with reports of a new Sith menace. After his daughter was stolen from his arms, Lando searched the stars for any trace of his lost child, but every new rumor only led to dead ends and fading hopes, until he crossed paths with Ochi of Bestoon, a Sith assassin tasked with kidnapping a young girl. Ochi's true motives remain shrouded to Luke and Lando, for on a junkyard moon, a mysterious envoy of the Sith Eternal has bequeathed. What in the world is that word?
Bequeath.
Bequeath.
I think it's like you give something. If you bequeath something, you pass it down.
It just seems like a weird word.
You give it to somebody.
Anyways, a sacred blade to the assassin, promising that it will give him answers to the questions that have haunted him since the Empire fell. In exchange, he must complete a final mission: return to Exegol with the key to the Sith's glorious rebirth, the granddaughter of Darth Sidious himself, Rey. As Ochi hunts Rey and her parents to the edge of the galaxy, Luke and Lando race into the mystery of the Sith's lingering shadow and aid a young family running for their lives. I think this is could potentially be a fantastic novel, because inside this novel is a lot of questions we have, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Dealing with things with Lando, with Luke, where he's going to be at during that time, Rey and her family, and Exegol, all of this stuff kind of compiling into only things that were hinted at in The Rise of Skywalker. So I, for one, am very excited about it. I'll let you know what happens, Braxton.
Yeah, well, I know. I think that'd be great. Maybe I'll read this one. No, honestly, it sounds fantastic. I mean, honestly, we posted like a week or two ago. I don't know when it was. Basically the kind of stand-in covers for all 4 of those books that have come out, and all of them sounds great. I mean, the other ones too is the stories of the Jedi and Sith. That sounds really interesting as well. But yeah, the Shadow of the Sith, especially hearing that description sounds really cool.
Yeah, and so just kind of going over the other ones quickly. Also getting Brotherhood. This is going to be a story about Obi-Wan and Anakin, and during the Clone Wars, and forging a new bond as Jedi Knights. I'm interested what they're really going for with this novel, because this is that is a time we know well, right? Like Obi-Wan and Anakin during the Clone Wars. Like, you could say that's
probably the most covered.
The most covered of everything. So it's very interesting they've decided to do another novel during that time.
Right.
But hey, I mean, I'm always for more Obi-Wan and Anakin. I think there is meaning behind this. It comes out May 10th, 2022. I would venture to say, be on the lookout for Kenobi potentially coming sometime near this book release date, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Because my guess would be there's a reason this novel's coming out this year or next year in 2022. We know Kenobi's coming. We know they always have a book that is connected to to the movie, the next movie or next show. And so I would say there is a reason for this release date. So really keep your eyes peeled for Kenobi to release somewhere within the vicinity of May would be my guess.
Yeah.
So moving on, we have Star Wars Stories of Jedi and Sith. This is going to be a short stories, I guess you could say. It's going to have a bunch of different authors joining in together to tell stories. I'm sure that will be good. That is going to be coming from Disney Lucasfilm Press, so it's going to be I'm pretty sure a middle grade anthology. And then we're also going to be getting Padawan, and this is about Obi-Wan Kenobi as a young Padawan. So for some of you who may not know, there's actually is a very big series about Obi-Wan as a Padawan called Jedi Apprentice, and that was one of my favorites growing up, was reading that series. And so this is going to probably be kind of like a new version of that, I would say. So that's going to be a young adult novel by Kirsten White, so that's really exciting. And that release date is July 26, 2022. So again, in that summer time, right? We have one in May about Obi-Wan. We have one in July about Obi-Wan. Expect Obi-Wan Kenobi, the show, somewhere in that May to July. That's that's just my guess.
No,
or maybe even in August, right? Because it'll be after those.
True.
But
but last time we talked about this, that was kind of our theory for that as well.
And
so
I feel like
this kind of lines up pretty well with that.
These book releases kind of make sense when you think about that, and they've got to be kind of planning on their end to make sure these release around the same time as that show's going to be coming out, even if they don't know the exact date.
Right, for sure.
So, with all of that being said, let's go ahead and jump into some rumors. And we have an interesting rumor here to start off with. We're going to be talking about a wild scene description from the Book of Boba Fett. That is the new Disney Plus series that's going to be coming out very, very soon. We only have a couple months left. And so that's going to be here before you know it. And that is very exciting to think about, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So this is coming straight from StarWarsNews.com. They are pretty reliable in their information a lot of times. Now, they did want to say, of course, you take this with a grain of salt, whatever, but it is a reliable source, they claim.
Which, everybody says that.
Right. So I'm going to read this. Of course, if you don't want anything potentially spoiled for you, now would be the time to skip forward a little bit. In the scene, Boba Fett will be encountering and quite possibly controlling a Rancor. Our source was not completely positive on whether Fett is fighting the beast or controlling it, but Fett is standing on the back of the Rancor's neck and looks like he's riding and controlling it as it tears through a complex city street on what is likely Tatooine. We consulted with a separate source who confirmed the scene is indeed in the series. So that sounds pretty cool in my opinion.
That's true. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, and if you think about it, it would. I mean, we know that Jabba had Rancors. We saw one, of course, and it died, but it doesn't mean he didn't have more somewhere, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So maybe he has another one somewhere there, and we know Boba's now kind of like taken over Jabba's palace, so maybe he's taking a Rancor for a ride.
And when you become the Dawn over the palace here, you can do what you want.
But I mean, just thinking about a scene where we got Boba Fett riding around on a Rancor sounds awesome. Like I'm all in.
Right? No, 100%. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're getting some interesting information kind of trickling out here and there, and of course that's a rumor, but I have a feeling that in order to let the Book of Boba Fett stand up on its own, when in comparison to the Mandalorian, right, and it's not just some kind of like offshoot of that, they're gonna have to do some pretty wild, crazy, awesome stuff to really, like I said, make Book of Boba Fett its own thing, its own show, its own, what I'm saying. So yeah, I mean, some big crazy stuff like that. I wouldn't be too surprised if that happens.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so our second rumor for this week is that there are some new details on the quote-unquote first punch between Kenobi and Vader and the big rematch of the century in the new upcoming Kenobi series. So, Drew, what kind of details do we have on that?
Yeah, so this is coming from Making Star Wars. Again, a pretty reliable source. We've had a lot of rumors and things come from this site, and just in our span of doing this, that has came true. So again, if you don't want anything spoiled, now would be the time to skip forward, just in case this is true.
Actually, can I walk out real quick?
Right.
Wait a second.
So basically, they're saying around this time in the story, Obi-Wan Kenobi is dispatched to a planet on a rescue mission. And the captive prisoner is very important to the cause, and Kenobi has to save said person from the Inquisitor's clutches. So that's one thing there for you guys to take in and think about.
Yeah.
The other thing is we are going to see Mustafar again. We're going to see, of course, Vader's castle. It's going to show him leaving Vader's castle to head out to take on Kenobi. They said that basically Kenobi is wearing his clothes from Revenge of the Sith, or at least extremely close to it. It says it's worse for wear. He looks a little older, a little more tattered, but he still very much acts like Kenobi. Nice. And that his swagger remains, is what it says. Oh,
yeah. Come on, baby. Let's go. Come
on. They said that Vader steps onto the dirt ground. They said that it's pretty much identical to the Rogue One costume.
Yeah.
And then they says Obi-Wan realizes exactly who's in the suit immediately. And then let's see. It says Darth Vader walks toward Kenobi, ready to engage him. And this is what I love. And again, if this is true,
and again, if this is true,
this may not be true at all. But if this is true, we're getting a little spoiled here, because this would have been great to see for the first time.
Yeah.
But it says Vader walks towards Kenobi to engage him, and it says that's when Obi-Wan Kenobi force pushes Darth Vader, what looked like 50 feet maybe in total.
No.
It says Vader's launched into the air as he hits what appears to be a rock wall.
Wow. And this time Vader's like, this is his like rampage days. You know what I'm saying? Like he's beast mode. So like anyone that's accompanying Vader seeing this, they're gonna be like, who is that guy?
Yeah. So again, all of this is rumor, and that's as far as I'm gonna go. There's some more here, but that's
I don't even want to know.
Yeah, that's about as far as we really need to go. And here's something for you guys. If you guys don't want us to cover things like this, let us know. Like, we don't have to cover rumors, plot rumors.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's just kind of like the easiest stuff to find as far as rumor stuff goes. But if you guys would rather us not do that, let us know, and we can kind of change up how we do this. But
yeah, for sure.
But in the meantime, it is kind of fun to speculate and talk about these things.
Yeah, because this may not happen whatsoever.
Yeah, this could totally be something somebody just wrote.
Yeah,
and
this is what I want to happen.
And trust me, that's happened to us many times.
Plenty
as well.
of times.
So,
yeah.
Anyways, but if that is true, I'm all for it. Sounds pretty great.
Yeah, for sure.
So moving on to our last rumor. Our last rumor is maybe kind of a rumor, but also kind of not.
Yeah.
Basically, it sounds like from actually multiple different sources we have seen that Mandalorian Season 3 is currently in production. Now, I am under the impression that Star Wars or Lucasfilm as companies have not stated it is in production.
Right.
So that's why we keep it in the rumor section. But there has been multiple different actors, including Carl Weathers, and maybe even Pedro has posted maybe some little hints at it.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That they're back in production for Season 3. Now, what does that mean for us? Well, what that means for us, first of all, for some of you who maybe have not kept up with Star Wars a whole lot and are confused by the fact that a Season 3 is not coming this December. And I've had many people come to me and say, why did they cancel it? Or what, what, they just aren't doing it anymore, or all this different stuff.
Right.
Here is something that might put your mind to ease. this is not, the Book of Boba Fett is not replacing the Mandalorian.
Correct.
It is. You could consider it a branch off of the Mandalorian. You could maybe even consider it a little detour, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we do think that there could possibly be some story here in the Book of Boba Fett that's going to matter for the future.
Right, it's going to kind of lead up
The
to something.
Mandalorian.
Yeah, for sure.
But Mandalorian Season 3 will be coming. It's just going to be coming a little later than what we're used to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to now probably be in December of next year, right? That would be my guess. Maybe November, but yeah, I would say it's going to be in the holiday of next year.
Yeah, most likely.
With that, we have a long wait, but this is confirmation that they are working on it. So like, no fears for anyone who may have been concerned. And also, we know that the Book of Boba Fett, and this is kind of what I've been telling people to kind of ease their minds. The Book of Boba Fett is the same team. It's literally like the same people. That's why the Mandalorian hadn't been able to start.
Right, yeah.
Because it's literally all the people that have done the Mandalorian are doing the Book of Boba Fett.
Right.
So it's going to be good. Trust me. Like, I just know.
Right.
I've never been so sure of anything in my life that this show is going to be good.
There's a song that goes like that.
Really?
Never been so sure of anything in my life. It's, I can't remember how it goes, but it's
it's
sing it at a wedding.
It's that
they sing it at weddings.
It's that wedding song.
But,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the same way I feel about that stuff.
You just sing it. Just sing it about the Book of Boba Fett.
That's literally I can't remember any of the rest of the lyrics. Otherwise, I would.
I wonder what Boba was thinking
when he joined up with Mando.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
Yeah, we'll stop that.
Yeah, we just lost another.
For the sake of our listeners, let's just stop that right now.
We just lost multiple listeners. I can see the numbers right now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you're seeing into the future right now.
A downward spiral as we speak.
No, come back.
But yeah, so yeah, good stuff. Good stuff indeed. Do you have anything you want to say about that?
Not particularly.
I said a lot, like just then right there.
I'm gonna say not particularly. Like I said, I'm just really excited. And again, I was disappointed. For a little bit, I was like, man, I really want Mando to come out. I think they easily could have had them go maybe close, even like not necessarily back to back, but pretty close. So to think that it's potentially a whole year away is kind of disheartening. But at the same time, I know that we are not at a lack of good content, though. It's not like, Mando's a year away, but hey, well, at least we have the Resistance seasons 3, 4, and 5 coming this year.
Oh my.
No shade to anybody who actually likes Resistance, but you see what I'm saying. Like for me personally, I know that we got the Book of Boba Fett coming, we got Andor coming, we got Kenobi coming, we got all these things. So long story short, I'm excited, and I can wait for Mando if I get all those things in return coming into 2022.
Yes.
So.
100% agree with you.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and jump into our releases very quickly. In releases, October 27th, which is going to be a Wednesday, we have War of the Bounty Hunters IG-88. It's just a one single issue. And yes, War of the Bounty Hunters is finished. The crossover event is finished. If you guys want to hear more about what kind of happened there, let us know. Maybe we can talk about it sometime, but it's still a little fresh right now, so we're not going to do that just yet. We have Darth Vader issue 17, which is also going to be kind of closing out what happened with Vader in War of the Bounty Hunters.
Yeah.
And then we also have the High Republic, The Monster of Temple Peak, issue number 3. And then jumping over into November 3rd, which will be the following Wednesday, we have Bounty Hunters issue number 17, Star Wars issue number 18. Both of those closing out their parts of the War of the Bounty Hunters crossover. And then we have the High Republic issue number 11 and the High Republic Adventures issue number 10. All of these scheduled for November 3rd. Probably not going to happen because something always gets pushed. Most likely the High Republic Adventures, because they love to push those back. Right. I have no idea why, but it happens all the time. So those are going to that's what's going to be happening in the next 2 weeks of releases. Again, some really good stuff coming up here in the future. Just to kind of also give you guys a little update, our next adult novel from Star Wars that will be coming out is not going to be too far from now, November 16th, Thrawn Ascendancy, Lesser Evil, which will be the closing chapter in that Thrawn prequel trilogy. So that'll be exciting to see kind of what they do with that. So
cool.
That's all we got.
Yeah, so now we're going to move into our penultimate section here. As we know, we stopped doing the Q&A segment there for a while now, and we have now adopted our new community discussion section. Kind of like a Q&A section, except it's the exact opposite. We ask you guys questions, and we'd love to hear your answers, and then we'll kind of discuss it on air and things of that nature. With that said, last podcast, we apologize if we didn't go into it as deeply as we could have. We had an incredible turnout for our community discussion. We had so many answers. I mean, it was like crazy, but we so thankful for that. But it wasn't just like, oh, let's just talk about these answers. Like, it was all what if scenarios, and it was just kind of like, what if and we could have spent hours.
Who would have known that our audience is such like what
if fans?
Yeah, but like they're like hardcore into it, man.
Which I have to admit, we posted it alongside the Marvel What If, so it's probably on a lot of people's minds. Anyway, long story short, if you guys do want us to go more in depth, so maybe next time or maybe our main topic could be going over those. If that's what you guys want, let us know. We'd love to deep dive into a handful of those, and that's what you want, we'll do. So this week, though, our community discussion, we actually did post a quiz that, like, not necessarily a quiz, but it's kind of like it, choose your answers, and then we'll tell you what you think you do. Anyway, Star Wars posted this quiz entitled, "Which Star Wars book should you read now?" So we posted that, and we was like, hey, take this quiz. We're interested to see what everybody does. So we got 2 people that did it this week, excluding us. And that was, of course, Brandon Dukes and Stuart Martin, 2 fine gentlemen there.
Yes, very fine gentlemen.
And so Brandon got Legends of Luke Skywalker for the book he should read now. And then Stuart got Dooku Jedi Lost. So two good books there. And I know Brandon said he really liked Dooku Jedi Lost when Stuart had posted that. So a lot of good books there for sure. Andrew, you did it, but what did you get when you got yours?
I got Dooku Jedi Lost. Oh, yeah. So me and Stuart on the same wavelength there.
So you read Dooku Jedi Lost?
I did. Yes.
So how accurate do you think that was for you? Did you enjoy that book?
So here's the thing.
Uh-oh. Actually, I already know the answer to this. Now I'm thinking about it. It's not that I. So they got it right as far as like, yes, it's an interesting time, and I like all that. I like the idea of a prequel of Dooku. All of those things are great. My issue with it is that it was originally an audiobook that was then turned into a script. Yeah. So that's my issue, which doesn't really have anything to do with the content. It's just annoying to me that I had to either listen to it or read the script. Mm-hmm. Neither one my preference. Yeah. But like they got it right. But it's more the medium.
It's the medium's the issue, but like the actual content in the story, I mean it's perfect for me. But yeah.
So on the other end of it, though, I have not taken it yet. I neglected to take the quiz so I could do it live on air. Woohoo! So and if anybody,
I'll tell you what I picked too.
Okay. I'll pick it, and then you can like reflect what you did. Yeah. So anyway, so maybe you saw this and you're like, what is that? Whatever. So I'll go over it live, and it's only 10 questions, and this is supposed to tell you what book they should read. Now, maybe whatever I get, maybe I should really buckle down and try to read it.
Maybe you should.
Maybe I should.
Maybe you should.
All right. So. Probably not. So, what Star Wars book should I read? So, number 1 question is, what genre or type of books do you usually read? And I'll go over the options here so you're familiar with them too on the listener side. So, we got fiction, biography, sci-fi or fantasy, mystery, or YA.
Is there a none option for
Is there a legal text option?
Legal text.
No, there's not a legal text option. No, I think it's kind of like an interesting answer question there because there's fiction and then there's sci-fi or fantasy. So it's kind of like they're kind of one and the same. But I would say I'd probably read fiction because that kind of covers more than just sci-fi and fantasy. I have read other things too outside of that, which I don't know. I'll just pick fiction. We'll see.
Okay.
What did you pick?
I picked science fiction fantasy, and the reason being is because while I read all kinds of stuff, but like I would say a majority of the books I read are science fiction.
Yeah,
or fantasy.
Because like I said, either outside of Star Wars books, I read of course all the Lord of the Rings and Hobbits. So that's fantasy, right? I guess you consider that fantasy.
Yeah. No, your choice has already been made.
Yeah, okay. We're saying fiction. Anyway, I'm not going to get too deep.
You already made the choice.
All right. Number 2, in your opinion, what's the best Star Wars film? Okay. So we got A New Hope, Solo, The Last Jedi, The Attack of the Clones.
I like you had to laugh before you said that one.
That just came out of my mouth. Anyway, Rogue One. So
there's only one right answer.
Yeah,
there's only one correct answer. Don't get it wrong.
Obviously, I'm going to choose New Hope, but Solo was a really good film. I'm not joking. I really did enjoy Solo. So, but of all the ones that they chose, why Last Jedi, Attack of the Clones, and Rogue One, like, and Solo, I guess even. What are you laughing at?
It's just you and like. Standing up for Solo, man.
Yeah, hey, don't be laughing.
Rogue One's way better than Solo, but let's not get into that.
I mean, it's comparable. Anyway, okay, so New Hope is clearly better than all of those.
I think they purposely like didn't put like
they're
the
trying to
obvious
lead
answers.
They're basically their marketing team's like, we want you to buy these books.
Well, they purposely didn't put in obvious ones. Like a lot of people would say Revenge of the Sith or Empire Strikes Back.
Or Revenge, yeah.
I feel like a lot of people are going to pick one of those two because that seems to be pretty like...
I feel like they're like trying to lead you to a certain book here. All right, anyway. Number 3, choose your favorite character from the prequel trilogy. If Obi-Wan's on here already. Yeah, Anakin, Padme, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, R2-D2, Darth Maul. So, Obi-Wan, obviously. So we're not gonna deliberate on that. We already know what.
I'm not even gonna comment.
Yeah, I think you chose Jar Jar. All right, number 4.
I'm not Alex Mason.
Yeah,
you heard me, Alex.
Still the war rages on.
Yeah, you heard me. I know you'd be picking Jar Jar. You'd get some children's book.
All right, so number 4. Choose your favorite.
You'd get Where's the Wookiee?
It's like a puzzle book. Find the droid. Connect the dots.
Your ABCs with C-3PO.
That's confusing. All right, enough picking on Alex here. All right, number 4. Choose your favorite character from the original trilogy. Still Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Leia. You know what? I'm gonna go with Darth Vader. I'm on Darth Vader in the original trilogy era. Number 5. Choose your favorite character from the sequel trilogy. None of the above. No. So basically, I'm just going through this. Sorry. BB-8, General Leia, Rey, Finn, Poe Dameron, and Ben Solo / Kylo Ren. So obviously, the only right answer, in my opinion, is Ben Solo, Kylo Ren. For me personally,
that's what I picked as well. Hey, do you want anything from El Ranchero?
Oh, sure.
What do you want? You can stay and watch Dune afterwards if you want.
I would. I feel bad.
Plans?
I got plans tomorrow to watch it. So we're explaining our plans.
Plans tomorrow. Oh, you're watching
to watch
tomorrow.
with Dune. Yeah. I'll take a quesadilla though.
Oh, okay. Just a cheese quesadilla or chicken or like what do you?
Chicken's fine. All right, so moving on from our dinner plan. We really could have paused that, but we'll leave that in.
Nah, we'll leave it. We're gonna leave it.
All right, what's your favorite color?
Shows our vulnerability.
Yeah, exactly. See, we're just a raw podcast. You know what I'm saying? All right, what's your favorite color? Red, blue, green, purple, gold. Green's my favorite color. Wow. Anyway,
I think I picked red.
Of course you do. All right, number 7. What type of music do you listen to most? Rock, classical, country, rap, pop. Man, I listen to a lot of different music, guys. I'll be honest with you.
A la carte on that quesadilla, or
that's fine. Yes.
Or do you want beans and rice, or?
Let's go ahead and do bean. Or no, it's gonna be rice. Just rice.
Just rice?
With that and rice.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. All right. You know what? I'm gonna be real with you, and Andrew's gonna crucify me, but I recently have been listening to country more than anything. I actually have. So, figured that's probably not your answer. But anyway, number 8. What is your dream job? Entrepreneur.
You've been listening to country?
Classic country, not the new stuff. The new stuff's junk, but the classic stuff like Dolly Parton. Yeah.
Where did this come from?
What? I've always liked Dolly Parton. Anyway, we're not gonna get.
You may have always liked Dolly Parton, but when did you start liking her music?
What? Okay, we're not talking about this on here right now. We're already sidetracked over with the quesadilla. Anyway, what's your dream job? Entrepreneur, poet, spy, pilot, artist. Let's say entrepreneur. Because really none of those, but entrepreneur. Choose a destination for a long weekend: Hawaii, London, Seattle, Rome, or Morocco. Hawaii. Still none of the above, but Hawaii. What was the last Star Wars series, special, or film you've watched? So Lego, Terrifying Tales, Star Wars Visions, Bad Batch, Mandalorian, Visions is the last one I watched. And last but not least, my answer is The Legends of Luke Skywalker by Ken Liu. Yes.
You got the same one as Brandon.
I did.
Well, now I'm interested in, like, four people took the quiz and we only got 2
answers.
books. So
We only got 2.
What are the other
like
options?
I said, the Star Wars marketing team is like leading. Like our sales are really low for these 2 books. We really need to get.
So if you guys could do us a favor, go on there, answer honestly, and let's see what you guys get.
Yeah, I would love to
Put them in the comments.
Yeah,
If you guys listen to this, go take the quiz. We have the link to the quiz on our Facebook right now, so go check it out. I'd be interested to see everyone's. Alex, you don't have to do it because we already know what yours is. It's going to be Where's the Wookiee? So,
all right.
It's
So
where's Waldo? Star Wars version.
So this the Legends of Luke Skywalker, is that it says Legends of Luke Skywalker? Is that canon or not? Do you know?
So it's kind of canon, kind of not canon.
It's like it's Legends, right?
It's
so you don't really know if it is.
Yeah,
or not,
it's like
type
short
thing.
stories all about Luke Skywalker.
Right.
Most of them, I would say, are kind of stretching the truth, but there is at least one in there that's most likely a canon story.
Interesting.
But yeah.
All right. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We took up an absurd amount of time and had some ridiculous things that had nothing to do with Star Wars in that segment there.
Just how we like it. But let's jump into our main topic.
Yes.
Now, I will go ahead and say kind of what we're going to do here is we're going to talk about the High Republic. And the idea is we're going to discuss what we have gotten so far in the High Republic, where we are so far in the story. And so with that being said, go ahead and expect that anything and everything could be spoiled for you in this conversation. So if you don't want something specific to be spoiled for you about the High Republic so far, this will not be the thing for you to listen to.
Yeah.
Because we are going to discuss plot points.
Yeah, I was going to say, Drew, I mean, like, obviously I'm going to be blatantly honest. I think most people who regularly listen to this already know this answer. I haven't really been paying too close attention with it because I'm kind of waiting until it all wraps up and we'll just hopefully get some overview stuff, and if there's anything that really sticks out, I can read it or whatever. Anyway, so Andrew's going to be talking predominantly, but I'm also going to be throwing in some questions at him, basically saying some pointed stuff like, hey, what is, what happened to this character, or blah blah. So yeah, just to kind of go along with what you're saying, there definitely will be spoilers. So yeah, Drew, go ahead and take us off, and as we go, I'll try to throw in a few questions here and there.
Yeah, so the High Republic, we are currently just finished up Wave 2 of the High Republic. We are still, so actually, let me explain this first. The High Republic right now is being released in what we'll call phases, okay? They have already said there will be a Phase 1, a Phase 2, and a Phase 3. We are currently in Phase 1, which I believe is called the Light of the Jedi, is the phase, I think. Could you look that up, actually? Look up the 3 High Republic phases, what they're called. So we're in the first phase, which then has waves in it, okay? And so they're releasing these in chunks. The first wave was when we received the Light of the Jedi, and then...
Yes, Phase 1 is Light of the Jedi.
What is Phase 2 called?
Phase 2 is Quest of the Jedi.
Quest of the Jedi, okay. So we got Wave 1, Wave 2, we got what was it called?
What?
The second High Republic novel, adult novel. I can't remember what it's called for the life of me all of a sudden.
New Hope. So, I don't know. Something like that.
No, that's not what it's called. Man, wow. Why can I not remember what it's called? I need like a whole list of. I need like all of them right here, like for me to look at right now. That's what I need. I'm gonna pull up something real quick so I have a little more resources here, so I'm not like just sitting here trying to remember what everything's called. Yes, The Rising Storm. Thank you.
Welcome.
So that was the adult novel that came out in Wave 2. So now we're going to be getting Wave 3, which is going to bring the next adult novel, which is going to be The Fallen Star. Now, these are always like the main event, okay? The adult novels are like the main event. You get the main plot advancement in these books. The rest of the things that come along with that are more like supplementary in a sense, right? Like they might bring more out of the High Republic or little side plots and things, and they'll cross over and stuff. But like the main stuff is happening in the adult novel, and then I would say comics is the next. The comics of the High Republic are the next most important, I guess we'll say. Sorry. So in the second, we discussed the first wave on here a while back. I think we kind of like pretty much discussed all of that, but I'll kind of briefly go over the first wave. The first wave is where we get the Nihil start to show up, and they create what they call the Great Disaster. They're kind of what put that in motion, where all this debris was flying through essentially like hyperspace and then coming out in random places and then and destroying like planets and stuff, right? So it was a really bad deal. And that was kind of the introduction to the Nihil. And then in the young adult novel, we got the Dringer, and the Dringer started to show up in that. Since that started happening, by the end of that in the comics, they actually get rid of the Dringer for now in like a weird way. Like they took out like the big bad of the Dringers. So,
yeah, well, I was saying that one novel. I think it was a YA novel, but that was like the big thing that was about to happen, right? Like, oh, they're blah blah blah.
Yeah, and so they almost like pushed that to the side a little bit, and I don't know if they're fully done or if they're going to come back more. But basically the idea is that the Nihil used the Dringer as kind of like a distraction, because what happened is Avar Kriss, who's over Starlight Beacon, takes a bunch of Jedi and has a collaboration with the Hutts at the time, and they actually go and have this war against the Dringer. Yeah, and while that happens, starting Wave 2, they're having what they call the Republic Fair. This is set up by the Chancellor, and it's kind of a joyous celebration of the Republic and all that they're kind of showing how strong and awesome they are. And it's this big celebration, tons of families, children, and stuff there. And it's going to be this glorious day, right?
Right.
Well, that's the day that Stellan Gaios is chosen to kind of keep an eye on the Chancellor. He's kind of like the Chancellor's bodyguard in a sense. And then we also have Elzar Mann is there. He's kind of getting into a little trouble with like a side romance on the side. He's like meeting up with this chick that's there. Yeah. And an interesting thing is you have Elzar Mann, you have Stellan Gaios, and you have Avar Kriss. They all kind of grew up together, and they're all very close. Elzar is clearly in love with Avar Kriss. Yeah. And he struggles with that because he's in love with her, and she kind of seems like she really cares about him too, right? But like she's so like devout. She's a devout Jedi. She'd never break the code, right? Right. And Stellan's the same way. He's very like, I'm following the rules, where Elzar is a little loose. Right. And so he's in love with her, but like he knows he can't be with her, so he always ends up with these other girls and stuff. And so he's with this other chick when all of a sudden the Nihil surprise attack the fair. And basically what goes down is they just start just killing everyone. And like
awesome.
so just all these innocent people are dying, right?
This-
just like being
So I'm sorry, let me interject here.
this is great. This is what I want. Yeah.
So was this at the beginning of Wave 2, end of Wave 1? What is this?
This
right
is
here?
the beginning of Wave 2.
Beginning.
This is what happens in the second adult novel.
Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, so this happens in that novel. They show up, they just start destroying everyone, just killing everyone.
Yeah, gotcha.
And
Awesome.
so it is so Elzar feels very guilty about this because he was off sleeping with this woman when
So they're spicing up in Wave 2, baby.
for those of you who may be concerned, like if family friendly, it's totally family friendly. It doesn't like go into
he's
any kind
extrapolating a little bit here, I'd imagine.
It doesn't go into any kind of detail or anything like that. So, but
the raunchy details.
yeah, but like he's still like half like I think he's like kind of drunk and stuff still like from the night before, and so he's like out of it when this attack happens. So he's kind of like feels guilt about that.
Yeah.
But Stellan, he's trying to protect the Chancellor. So this was the most amazing part of the book for me, is you have Stellan. He's kind of like the Obi-Wan Kenobi of the High Republic, in a lot of ways. He's just a fantastic character, and he just cares so much. And he's like when you think of a hero Jedi, like this, it's Stellan, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, and so he is doing everything he can to protect everyone and protect the Chancellor, do all this stuff to the point of like the Force. He's so beat up by the end of it, like he can barely even stand on his feet, but he just keeps going, and he just keeps doing everything he can to protect the Chancellor and everyone else around
True
him.
hero warrior.
And so it's really, really cool. And when it's all said and done, and they've kind of like fought them back off and everything, and the Nihil leave, and tons of people have died and all this stuff, but they basically, how they get them to go off is they get a beacon because they kind of like cut all transmissions, right? The Nihil do, so no one they can't be like, help, we're being attacked.
Right. Yeah.
So, and actually in the middle grade novel, the side plot of the middle grade novel is that they're trying to get the transmissions back.
So is this the Starlight Beacon? How's this play into that?
Yeah, so like it's reaching out into, and Starlight Beacon is kind of the point of Starlight Beacon, right? So that they can have communication better and all that stuff.
Right.
And so they get that back online, and then the Republic and everyone comes and helps them and chases off the Nihil.
Yeah.
So within that, Stellan at that point there's this explosion, and the Chancellor's like laying there, and they think she might even have died. And Stellan runs up to her and grabs her and picks her up and falls on his knees and just starts weeping, right? Because he's already like,
wow.
He's exhausted. He's put everything into this, and he's like, I failed her, right? And he's just devastated by all the things.
Yeah.
So he's on his knees just weeping. And anyways, like all the cameras and news reporters and stuff start like videoing him, and anyways, that moment becomes the moment of this, right? He's the image.
He's the face. Yeah.
He's the face of what happened at the fair. So he's plastered everywhere, showing him on his knees crying, holding the Chancellor in his arms.
Wow.
And because of that moment, Elzar, already kind of one of the face of the Jedi, because he's a handsome, like, just kind of the perfect image of a hero, right? So he was already popular, like, to cameras anyways, that they kind of mentioned that earlier. But now he is the face of the Jedi at this time. And so
so when you say the face, though, is it in a good way or a bad way?
Well, and that's the question that still yet remains. Because what happens after the and of course I'm like, there's so much more to all this, right? But I'm trying to to keep it as simple as I can. After this is over, the Nihil are gone, and they take him, and the Chancellor isn't dead, by the way. She's in recovery. They take him and decide that he is going to be over the plan, like fighting against the Nihil. The Chancellor wants him to be over it, right?
Okay.
And so it's up to him now to kind of like figure out how they're going to do the, like, he's over the mission.
Yeah. So
And-
on a pause here for a second, and maybe you had already said this, or maybe this is something that like we should already know or whatever. But so with the Nihil or the Nihil, what are they? I know they're kind of like a dark side group or an evil group. You know, are they force sensitive, or what are they?
The Nihil do not have any kind of force sensitivity. They are strictly kind of like space pirates. In a sense, right?
Gotcha.
They
Yeah.
have different like groups and like ranks, and then they're led by the Eye, and the Eye is Martian Rowe, and
Okay,
Martian
gotcha.
is their leader, and he's using this old woman, who is force sensitive. That she's actually a Santeca.
Oh, Lars Santeca. Yeah.
He is using her to track routes through hyperspace. Interesting enough, they also do that in the prequels, in the Thrawn prequel trilogy. They call them Skywalkers.
Oh, really?
And they also do that. They, at a young age, they can sense paths through hyperspace.
Yeah.
And that's how they travel in the Chiss.
Interesting.
But then when they get older, they lose the sensitivity to it. So that's another
Very
little,
cool.
That's
Yeah.
another little
Yeah.
tidbit there for you. But so they're doing this, and so he uses her to do that, but no one knows he has her, and so
Right.
they think he's all powerful and has all these secrets.
Gotcha.
And anyways, they're basically just like, they're just bad. Like, they just want to roll like
Yeah.
that. They just want everything to be theirs.
Just dirty scoundrels.
Yeah,
you know?
pretty much. Like, they don't have some like higher
Higher goal or purpose.
Like, they
you
just
know,
want to. Like, yeah, they're just bad.
to bring balance to the universe.
So, so with that, that's kind of the easiest way to describe them. They have some interesting things that are happening. One, they have this gas, right, that they use. Anytime they go somewhere, they throw this gas down. It makes it hard to see. You can't really see all this stuff. And then also this other thing's being used that deactivates lightsabers, which is a kind of a big issue for Jedi, right?
Yeah.
They have there's this thing that's being used. They kind of start using it towards the like halfway point in the novel. They start to use this device, and it I think it's going to become even more prominent as the books go on. But that it deactivates a lightsaber, so that's kind of a big issue. And
Interesting.
And then they well, I'll get to that in a minute. So anyway, now Stellan Gaios is kind of like leading this, but the thing is Stellan Gaios doesn't really want to lead it, and that's
Right.
where the issue lies. He's one of the members of the Jedi Council, but now he is like the face. Everybody is looking to him as far as like the general public, right?
Right.
And so he has this weight on him now to defeat the Nihil, and we're already starting to see some cracks in his demeanor of like how he's dealing with it. Like, I don't think he wants it, and so it's kind of like he's had a couple of moments already, like in the comics and stuff, which are preceding this book, where he's like starting to kind of crack under that pressure, and so we'll see where that goes.
Interesting.
But I don't think. I'm concerned about where he's going to head, because I love this character. I don't want anything bad to happen to this character, okay?
Right.
And going back a little bit, I wanted to speak again about Elzar Mann. Elzar Mann, again, feeling some guilt for what he had been doing when this happened. He then kind of lashes out at one point against the Nihil who are attacking, and basically starts to use the dark side in retaliation. And he like almost like explodes in anger and causes a big, he like destroys a bunch of stuff, but it was fully dark side, and he admits to that and basically tells Stellan like, I fully tapped into the dark side and like I need help, which is cool to see, like versus like Anakin, who would have hid that
and then ultimately corrupted himself, you know.
But he comes to Stellan's like, I need to get through this. I need some like,
that is cool.
So we'll see where that goes. But the fact that he did kind of tap into that dark side, I think there may be more to that in the future that we might see.
Yeah, and if there are any, force sensitive baddies out there, they might sense that and be like,
Right.
"Well, he might be
And
vulnerable."
also, yeah, and I think also the relationship with Avar Kriss, there's still meaning there as well that we have yet to see. But then talking about Avar Chris's story has mainly been in the comics.
Yeah.
Where the first book really focused on Stellan or Elzar Mann and some Avar. The second one really focuses on Stellan, and then we get some Elzar. Avar is actually nothing. I don't think there's any chapters with Avar Chris as the point of view. But in the comics, you see her side of when this happens. They had just defeated the Drengar, and it just defeated the Drengar, and then this happens, right? And then the communications cut off, and we actually haven't really seen what Avar is going to do about that just yet, or where she stands with things. But now going past that, and of course there's a lot more stuff to talk about there, but that's kind of where we are right now.
Yeah,
okay?
gotcha.
The Republic Fair has happened. The Jedi are now starting to, we need to fight back against the Nihil. They're obviously a bigger threat than we realized. That's kind of where we're at in the High Republic.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about like where we're going.
Well,
next.
I got a couple of questions for you.
Oh, no,
then.
great. Awesome.
So yeah, and that's actually leading up to exactly what we're saying. Now that we have established phase one, or excuse me, not phase one, wave one, phase
wave. So wave
one, wave
two,
two, whatever of phase
one, wave two.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now that we've concluded both of those, first question is, what has the second wave done that you felt like the first one didn't do, if there is anything?
Oh, absolutely no. The second wave officially has set the stakes. Okay.
Gotcha.
The first wave established the characters that we're going to be like going through the story with.
Yeah.
It set the stage for the enemies.
Gotcha.
It set the kind of the world. It did a lot of world building.
Yeah.
The second phase brought the pain and the this is gonna be really like there's gonna be some dark stuff in this.
Yeah.
And actually, before you ask any more questions, I forgot one very important thing that I need to mention at the very end of the book. We have another important character that hold on, I want to bring up my little thing here. Another important character from the High Republic is Belle Zetafar. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but that's what I'm going to say. Yeah, but Belle Zetafar is he's one of the probably main characters, I would say, of the novels, and he has a master by the name of what's his name? He's really cool.
Yoda.
No, but for some of you who may be kind of like wondering, like, well, what about Yoda?
Has Yoda been
like,
around in this?
What's Yoda doing during all this? I'll tell you, Yoda's not involved very much.
He has joined the
basically Yoda is like he's off on his own like thing, and no one really knows what he's doing.
Sounds kind of a cop out, but anyway.
And it might be, but why in the world is my computer giving the definition of potpourri over there? That's strange.
Yeah, anyway, you never know what's going to happen, honestly.
So they never really have explained what he's doing. He was like training Padawans, and that's what he normally does a lot of times.
Yeah.
He goes off and on adventures with all these Padawans, but now he's actually went off on his own, and no one knows why. Yeah. And so I'm hoping that ties back into. Well, here's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for a Gandalf the White moment. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm hoping for a Gandalf the White moment, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Where they're losing the battle, they don't know what they're gonna do, and they look on the horizon.
Yoder's coming in,
and Yoder and Baby Yogurt are just coming down.
Whoa, Baby Yogurt.
But anyways, you know what I mean? Like, he comes,
100%.
And he just totally just saves the day, because they even in the High Republic, they talk about Yoda as like he's
He's the pinnacle.
Yeah,
type
he's
thing.
the pinnacle.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
when they're like, oh well, maybe you'll be as good as Master Yoda one day. You know, like he is the top tier. So
awesome.
so I'm hoping for a moment like that eventually. But like the novels, really like the novels and the adult comics, nothing hardly.
So that's
other than like
bizarre.
some mentions.
Yeah.
He was in the Adventures comic at first, but
Yeah, I
then he
remember
left.
that.
So
What's it's just as funny that you're gonna bring in this huge character and then just like, no, we're not gonna use him.
and I think it's kind of intentional. They don't want to use him too much in this, probably
Rely on him and
but,
take away from the
but
new
at the same time, I
characters.
think they're
Yeah.
waiting for like that moment.
Sure.
Where it's
yeah.
like, oh yeah, the payoff of it all. But so anyways, talking about Zetafar, he's another one. He's a Padawan to the Master Greatstorm, okay, and loading Greatstorm. And at the end of this novel, Markian Rowe is because he had kept from the first book, he had captured Greatstorm and had kept him and had been torturing him, right, for a purpose, and they weren't really sure exactly what this purpose was. In the end, I think the purpose was for him to replace the old woman, because the old woman doesn't have much left, and she's gonna die, and he needs another Force user to use for this whole finding routes through hyperspace.
Yeah.
So he's trying to like break his will and be able to use him for this stuff. Well, anyways, Master Loden Greatstorm is very, very strong in the Force, very strong-willed. He's not breaking, right? Like he's not
Right.
going to break to this guy. And so finally, Belle finds out where he's at. He goes to break him out of this place, and this is the end of the novel. And so Loden, he's super weak, super beat up and stuff, but he gets him out, and they kind of have like a little bit of a clash with some different characters. They actually well, I'll tell you this in a second. So then they're like escaping, right? They're getting out of there. Well, Martian has this thing. We're not really sure exactly what it is, but somehow he activates something, okay?
Yeah.
And again, it's not really sure how all of it works yet, but there's like this growling noise, this like monster noise, and all of a sudden, Loden turns into like a pillar of salt.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like all of a sudden just turns into like
okay.
That's the best way I can describe it from like the like the Bible stories, right? Like the pillar of salt where they turn, and then it's just like, so that's what happens. He turns into like stone or whatever.
Yeah.
And then that's the end. He's dead. He's gone.
Interesting.
And basically,
Wow.
Belle
Just how it
like
works
curls
out,
up in a ball, and just like, because he thought he lost his master, then he gets him back. He's about to escape, and then he gets turned into the. So he's just like he's
Go
like,
through all these emotions.
he's broken, right? Like he's completely broken. It's a super. You're laughing, but it was like a super dark moment. Like when you're
I'm
reading
sure,
the book,
yeah.
like it's
It's just how you described it. It was kind of humorous, but yeah, I'm sure.
But like it's pretty traumatic. So here's why that's worrisome. It seems to be some kind of something that can attack Force users and turn them into this. Okay, so whatever it is very, very bad for the Jedi and the future of the Jedi.
Clearly.
So, and then the last thing I wanted to say with that is they think, and I hope people will find this interesting for those that maybe didn't read the High Republic. I hope that you guys are like learning some stuff here.
Yeah.
And I hope that for those of you who are keeping up with it and reading it, I hope that you just like to hear another opinion on it.
Yeah.
So hopefully this isn't just like boring people out of their minds, but
I'm bored, but
just
Just kidding.
So the last thing I wanted to mention with that is Martian Rowe. He is the Eye, but they actually, no one realizes that. They think that Lorna D, which is actually Martian Rowe's, like one of his people under him, they think Lorna D is the Eye. So they actually don't even know who the actual Eye is yet. They have not figured that out. So that's another thing I wanted to mention.
Very interesting. So I just introduce two more questions real quick. Let's just bunch these two together because I think I already know the answer to what you've already said, right? But the first question was how have the characters, good or bad, developed in the second wave? And then second of all, what is your overall rank of this wave compared to the first one? Which I think you kind of already said it when you answered the first one, but go ahead.
So how would I rank this one against the first wave? Is that what you said? So I would say this wave is much better than the first wave.
So 1 out of 10, first and second. I'm just throwing that out there, right? 1 out of 10.
Like the whole wave.
Yeah. So for number 1 out of 10. First wave, not 1 out of 10.
I would say the first wave. I would give the first wave a 7.
Okay. So then 1 out of 10, second wave.
I would give it an 8.5.
Oh, okay. 8.5.
Now, if we were just talking about just the adult novels, those numbers would be higher.
But you're kind of balancing both.
But when
of
you
those.
include the middle grade novels,
Yeah.
the young adult novels, the comics, when you start adding in those things, I find a lot of that stuff to be more on the lacking side.
Right.
And so I'm kind of having to try to counterbalance.
Yeah. All right. So the last question I'll answer, and this kind of leads into our kind of final piece, what you was about to go into. And so I'll ask this, and then you can kind of like lead off into what you want to go into. But lastly, what will the third wave have to do to fully solidify the High Republic's place in Star Wars overall as something that's thought of as good?
I think that closing out this final wave of Phase 1, for people to come look back at it and say this was good, I think that it has to have meaning for the universe.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that
makes sense.
I think that we can't look back at the High Republic one day and say, well, it's just kind of an enclosed story. It doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
I think that whatever goes down in this, and I think that it is important that we get an idea of where that could potentially be in the end of this last wave, right? Because Phase 1 is done. We need an idea of, okay, what is this story?
Yeah.
Now we've already speculated what that really is, right? Like this is the fall of the Jedi in a sense,
right?
Before the fall of the Jedi,
before the actual fall.
This is where they go from being these great, heroes to
the Gilded Age, Golden Age.
Things are going to be on a decline from here on out. Things aren't getting better for them, really.
Yeah.
And we think that's where this is headed.
Sure.
And we've said that many times.
Right.
But yeah, I think like that's what's going to be the deciding factor on like if people think truly find this to be important and matter. Like that's going to be the big thing.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're like, yeah, it was great, but like it doesn't really.
Yeah, it's cool, but
you can skip it.
Exactly.
But if it can have such an impact on the universe that people are like, no, you can't skip this. Like
you really need to go back.
If nothing else, you need to watch a YouTube video that goes and explains from the beginning to end because you have to know what happens in this.
A good example for me of this, what I hope they do, right? Someone as an outsider's opinion, right, who hasn't really delved into it that much, they need to do what Rogue One did.
Absolutely.
In the sense that. Yeah, well, they need to do what Rogue One did. Where yes, is it really necessary? Yes or no, right?
But 100% agree. It's that it's Rogue One. Like it is now. Like if you're gonna watch New Hope, you might as well watch Rogue One first, and then watch.
It sets it up so well.
Yeah, it sets it up so well, and I think that this, like right now, I can't tell someone you have to read the High Republic.
Or I highly recommend it because it adds so much to it.
Yeah, like thing. I can't give any of those recommendations yet.
Right.
I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's one of my favorite things out of Star Wars in a long time.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
I haven't been this excited about Star Wars. I probably didn't get this excited about Star Wars with the sequel trilogy. I think I'm more excited about what I'm getting out of the High Republic than I am the sequel trilogy. But I can't tell someone if you watch Star Wars, you got to read these. And I want by the end of all of this, I want to be able to say you got to read this.
Yeah.
You got to know what happens in this.
Absolutely. So
with that being said, I want to hurry and wrap this up. I know we're kind of going long, but hey, we hadn't done one in a while, so
right.
I did want to just speak about what is going to come next in the High Republic, and it's actually really fitting today, as we're recording this, we got a new image.
Yeah.
that shows kind of the cast of the High Republic here, and it says, "Who will survive when the light of the Jedi goes dark?" And there's a very spoiler image on this. It shows Starlight Beacon blowing up.
Oh, there you
Starlight Beacon getting blown up. So I think I'd already maybe predicted this a little bit when we first got the reveal of the next book called The Fallen Star. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that I think that could probably mean something bad was going to happen to Starlight Beacon. And so here we are. Yeah, it's going to get blown up. That's very, very bad for our cast of heroes here, because first of all, Avar Kriss is the leader of Starlight Beacon. So what happens to Avar Kriss? Is Avar Kriss on the beacon when it blows up? Like, is she going to die? And that's what it says. It says, who will survive when the light of the Jedi goes dark? And it says the conclusion of Phase 1 of Star Wars, The High Republic, begins January 2022.
Wow. Nice.
So who will survive when the light of the Jedi goes dark? And I think, we're probably going to lose some people, because there's a lot of people on that beacon. And if this is a fully unexpected deal, which I assume, again, they're probably not going to expect this.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be really bad. Do I think we're going to lose someone as important as Avar Kriss? I would be surprised, but man, what an impactful moment if they truly do take her out. Like, that would be big.
Well, I mean, you know how successful that was for George R.R. Martin, you know?
Yeah. So we have Avar Kriss who's over it. So no matter what happens at the Starlight Beacon, it's going to really change Avar Kriss and what her role will be in this from this point on.
Right.
Because if it's gone, she's no longer what she was supposed to be. So like, what happens there?
Yeah.
Then you have so on the left, if you guys can pull up this image, you'll see on the left we have the cast of the comics. The adult comics is essentially everyone on the left. They've crossed over into other elements as well, but like that's where you'll see them mostly, including Avar Kriss. And so that makes me wonder if we're going to kind of continue to really focus on these characters in the comics. If you look at the other side, on the right side, again, they kind of seem like maybe they're divided up into some certain groups here. From at the top, we'll see someone that we've gotten very, very familiar with the side books, like the young adult novels and the middle grade novels. Vernestra Rowe. She's a very great character. She was the apprentice of Stellan Gaios, who is now, she's already at a young age already a Jedi Knight and has an apprentice under her. And a lot of people don't trust her abilities because she's still young. Right. But she's actually like already an experienced Jedi Knight at this point.
That's really cool.
And so she has an apprentice under her, and then so she's up there at the top with some other characters. And so I wonder if they're again kind of dividing up here into certain casts. So you'll see Stellan is there in the middle. We got Stellan and Buryaga, and then we have Sith, what's his name? Wreath Silas is there as well. He's been another prominent character. So I'm wondering if maybe that's going to be some of the characters from the adult novel this time that they're really going to focus on. And then we see at the bottom, we also see, what's his name? Man, I'm so bad at remembering names. It drives me crazy.
So don't rely on me, man. I have no clue.
Elzar Mann and Belle Zetafar. We see both of them standing there. As well, we also see the girl from the new anime novel that we got, graphic novel. She's also standing there. So it's hard to tell if they're truly trying to group these up into different parts of the story or if they're all just there. I don't really know.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited to see where it goes. But I think, like it's the fallen star. So we're going to see things get a lot worse before we ever see anything get better. And I think by the end of this phase, things are going to be very, very dark. Because we had the great disaster, which was
Yeah.
all this destruction on this one planet specifically was the worst.
Yeah.
Then we got the destruction at the fair, and all of these people were slaughtered. Okay.
Yeah.
And now on top of that, and I don't know how far in advance we're going to skip, but I would say probably not very far. Now here we are, and they're about to get their Starlight Beacon. You know, this big beacon of hope is now going to be destroyed.
Right.
And it's going to mean very bad things. And but I'm so excited.
They are leading up to Wave 3 with a bang, literally.
Yeah. So and then we'll be probably starting to learn about what Phase 2 looks like. The Quest of the Jedi. Is that what it was called? Quest of the Jedi? Something like that. It had Quest in it. I know that. But I'm stoked. I love the High Republic. It's been so much fun. And don't forget, guys.
Trials of the Jedi.
Oh,
It's the
I thought it
third
was-
one. Quest of the Jedi.
what's the second?
I'm sorry.
Quest of the
Duh,
Jedi
we're going
second,
into the
yeah.
second phase.
Quest of the
Yeah.
Jedi. I'm so excited, and don't forget that, like, yes, all of this is great. We're also getting a Disney Plus series that is going to be set during the High Republic.
Hey guys, it's only going to be a publishing series.
Yeah. Now that'll be towards the very end of the High Republic.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, like, I'm sure that knowing this plot will have an impact and probably more appreciation for what we get out of that, which is called the Acolyte.
Yeah. Again, you could kind of come right back into it and saying, like, if you can watch Rogue One and it's a great movie by itself, but yet if you already know about Star Wars, you already know what happens in New Hope, you already know what comes before that, it makes Rogue One that much better.
Right.
Right. Anyway.
But if nothing else, I hope you guys have heard and understand that, like, I'm passionate about the High Republic. I enjoy it. It's great. I do encourage you guys to jump on board. Let's read this stuff together as it comes out and discuss it. Like, we can, like, I'm discussing it by myself here right now, but, like, if one of you guys, one of you listeners are really into this and are keeping up with it, let me know. I'll get you on here and, like, you can discuss it with me, and Braxton can continue to ask the questions.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like, seriously, I'm not even joking. If there's someone out there that's keeping up with it, like, let us know.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it would be great to have a little more, like, back and forth discussion on it. And I'm going to continue to do it. And I'm going to continue to let you guys know what's going on in it. So.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. Like, I'm like losing my voice because I don't think I've ever talked this much on the podcast before. I talked so much this time.
Clearly you enjoy what you're talking about.
Clearly I love Star Wars and I've missed the podcast.
Clearly, yeah.
So
that should make everybody feel good.
Makes me feel good. I'm ready to go to sleep tonight.
There you go.
Actually, I'm ready for my Mexican food. That's probably
so our quesadilla,
chicken quesadilla,
sitting there because we're taking too long.
I got a chicken chimichanga. So.
Oh, chimichanga! All right, so we want to thank everybody so much for the continued support towards our podcast and towards Jedi Eternal as a whole. Now that we've kind of branched out from just being a podcast, right? And but we're thankful for all your support, and we look forward so very much to hearing from you as we do every week, and we post things, and we have community discussions, and we have just random posts about news. We just love hearing from you all. It's truly a pleasure. But if you would, please like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and all these different things for weekly polls, discussions, news, memes, and all that good stuff. On a side note, I did want to mention this. I noticed that there's some people that are active on our Facebook page but have not liked our Facebook page. So if you could, no, I'm saying names or anything, but if you go check, we would really appreciate if you are active on our page and you've talked to us and you do all that stuff. If you could. Like it really does help us, so we appreciate that if you could do that for us. But like I said, we also ask that you follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, like I said, and YouTube, and leave us a review on those previous two. But most of all, no matter what you don't do, we just thank you so much for listening and watching our content and absorbing it, however you do. But we would just ask us that you join us next week for a new episode of our Let's Play on KOTOR, and in 2 weeks for episode 66 of the podcast. Last but not least, may the Force be with you, and thank you for joining the Jedi Eternal.
We would be honored if you would join us.
The Force will be with you.
Always.